And that is what is killing every other areas. They are particular about who is decamping, how many people is bringing in. And they are looking at numbers, that when we have them in numbers, then we can be sure that the election coming up will have them like that. So when you say APC is controlling 29 states, so probably when the election will come up and they say they are willing outrightly, they will be telling you, look at this state, you cannot expect us to be controlling this state and we lose. We cannot expect us to be controlling this state and we lose. We have the senators, we have the rep, we have this. So these are people that determine the followers, and we cannot lose.
Over 200 million eyes are on the military, particularly the defense headquarters, for some reason. And maybe we'll get into that reason. Thank you for staying tuned to the newspaper headlines and analysis on this segment of Daybreak Live, where we check out the stories that are breaking and making the rounds across the country, Nigeria. And of course, so many stories are of interest. But I won't do this alone this morning. I have with me Mr. Afolabi, Public Affairs Analyst, joining us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, my brother. How are you doing?
Very well. Perhaps I should ask you if you have military friends. Maybe we can ask them a few questions. But let's get straight into the conversation.
I have them.
Yeah. So the big story has been on every paper this morning, and it says DHQ, that's Defense Headquarters, moves to arraign alleged coup plotters. So of course you understand the background to this story, how that they came about that issue, especially on October 4th. They said there was not going to be any military parade or kind of like an elaborate process of how we used to do from way back. And the president said, well, this is not because of anything, we're just because of the realities of our time and all that. So people, there were questions and innuendos, but now it has come to bear that the military had
actually said there was a coup.
Exactly. So now this is the issue. They now come to say to us that there was an attempted coup, and then those people that yes, they are going to be arraigned in a court-martial process. But what do you say to this? Do you trust the court-martial process in the country? Do you trust this administration to really do justice to what they should do? Well,
in the first place, this administration has so much been occupied with so many lies. Let's face the fact. The fact remains that they've been giving us some kind of, my people will call it lamba. You know, they give us kind of, the first came up with a coup rumor. They said it was a rumor, that it was not true. Some people were against, they mentioned Wike, somebody who was to target Wike, somebody who was to target some political personnel, that's, you know, and at a point they said nothing like that happened. So as at this time that the DHQ now came up to say, yes, we actually had a coup, and we are going to arrange them. I'm waiting for the names of those involved. That's the first one, because like we rightly said, the president denied that the parade that was supposed to be staged was as a result of time limits, and there's some circumstances behind it, and they don't really have time to do all that, and it's not that anything really happened. Well, that anything really happened, and now we have gotten to know that something actually happened. Why hiding it from us? If the coup was successful, won't we be the people that will bear the brunt? It will show that it only shows the capacity and the caliber of people who are leading us. It tells us the kind of administration that is taking Nigeria, God be, to the promised land. And I wonder why it is even coming now. Well, by my personal opinion, I'm waiting to see the names of people in that coup, attempted coup plots. And then talking about the court martial, it has been political, kind of politics has been ranging within that court martial before now. Remember, there was a time Femi Falana was involved in a particular case that was trending at the time, when the man stepped in to say, come, this person you are alleging to be this. If he has, okay, let's even take it back to the days of Dia Obasanjo, when Abacha was, said that some people planned coup, and he has put them together. You look at it that, yes, some people may have been involved, but there's a way they circle everybody within the particular division to say you are involved. And that is why it always becomes very slow in action, and undetermined to say this is what will be the end. It's not like our own court here, the High Court, or even the customary court that the civilian court that you can determine that, okay, while this case is going on, somebody will be standing there to speak on your behalf, as an advocate, to speak on your behalf, to say, yes, what you have been alleged for is not actually true, and this is how it should be. But they have, it is the military, the man in charge, and the commander-in-chief that determines everything. So it may end up becoming a political kind of, case. Okay. That we will not be able to really get to the root, but because we want some people to leave the stage, then we arrange such kind of...
So follow me. I'm not holding a brief for the government, but when you mentioned why did they not, say the truth or speak the truth, that we could, maybe they would say that they were trying to prevent a public unrest, especially in the country. That's one. Two, they were trying to investigate too. They were not too sure about the whole issue. But
they were not too sure.
That could be the, yes, because they said the investigation process just ended recently. Okay. So maybe they were still undergoing investigation at the time, and that was why they.
But they never admitted that there was a coup.
Perhaps because of public unrest.
What is good? This is Nigeria. Public unrest. Which of them has come up? Just yesterday or yesterday, we saw it on the TV. See, our situation has become part of us. We have grown. We are not a small country. We have grown to be an absorber of situations. We've been in this country when Murtala was shot dead, and the country did not go die, did not go dead for such kind of events. We've seen where people were been, put before the public to be shot because they attempt coup, or they were being part of people who plotted any coup. We've seen so many things. NSAS, name it. That did not kill the country. The truth of the matter is that it has been part and parcel of us. We are like a resilient people. Our kind of blood may not exist in any other country. And that is why I tell you, there is nothing hidden. Even before you say it out, some people already know. Because they have family there. Some people, like you just asked me, do I have families in the military? I have a number of them. But is it colleagues from my primary school days? Or is it colleagues from my secondary school days? Or people who have finished my institution with that end up becoming a military man. I have them to the point of a general. And I can tell you that we feel the pain of their family, who they left behind to go and serve the country. And right now there is this a campaign that people should allow their children to join the military. And people are not doing that again. Unlike before, when some of us, I personally applied. And I was not opportune. The zeal was there. Do you think that such zeal is on my own children? Do you think my son will want to become a military man? With what I have seen, I will not even allow him. Before I say anything, he will not even want to be. Because he has not seen the benefit of becoming, the zeal. Something will push you. Not like journalism. People will say they don't pay much. But the passion is there. The respect is there. Things that you do, that you see yourself enjoying yourself doing.
Now, let's talk about politics very briefly, about this administration again. There's been that claims that the APC would have to let go of Shettima. No, so the APC came out to say recently that there's no plan to drop Shettima as the vice president. What do you make of this, especially in the political terrain, come 2027?
Something is adding to our political terrain right now, and that is the case of Muslim tickets domination in the country. While we see the campaign for Christian genocide within the Christian end, and I think they should go and have a rethink. Not only within the country, we have an external forces who are also clamoring for that. At a point, we saw the northern leaders calling for meeting that there is no need for division in Nigeria, and that Nigeria unity is sacrosanct, and that was what they are standing before. I tell you, when they get to that bridge, I pray they will be able to cross over. Because the truth of the matter is, you can't say Nigeria is not a Muslim country, and we are being dominated by president as a Muslim and the vice president as a Muslim. It's not going to work. It's not going to work anywhere. And people may be looking or tilting to that end to say, come, for the unity of this country, everybody should be involved. The both religion that is recognized should be involved. Where you have the president as a Christian, the vice president must be a Muslim. Where the vice president is a Muslim, the president must be a Christian. And that we can be able to say, yes, we are one. But to have a particular one dominating, this is the first time that we are having such in our democratic setting. Even in the Shagari end, he has Alex Ekweme as his vice, and who is a Christian person. And when the person that was there, he is a Christian, Atiku was a Muslim, And when we had Jonathan there, he had somebody there. So it was at this point that they are giving us another card. And if this card is not checked, it may continue like that. And people is not ready. Our next 50 years is very important to us. Our next 100 years is very important to us. We are seeing countries around us already denouncing their religion, already clamoring for a new country. We have seen a country where we expect civilians to continue ruling that has changed suddenly into a military setting. And they are doing very well. That does not mean that because they have a military as their president, everybody must go with gun. No, it's not that we have armed officers on their street. No, but because that is what they prefer, and that was how they want to be led, and they are being led in that manner, and they are doing very well. So please, I want to say that our current administration party should be thinking better.
I think there's something I caught from. So let me pick you on your word now. Do you think? Let me just say it's going to be a polar question. Do you think going back to military rule would help Nigeria?
No, it won't. If we are able to manage our civilian leadership very well, it won't, because it will end up killing every administration that we have planned ahead. The local government, the local administration, people representative will not be there. It will end up that one person will be determined who become this, who become that. The people's choice will not be represented at that particular point. It will not be very good because we will not have full representation, and we may also not have the rule of law taking its place in our own time at that point. You know, the military era does not support all that. They work by decree. And with all that, we may not get it right. I mean, our own country is bigger. That's why I tell people, Nigeria is bigger. It's not a small country. There's things like that. If it's just like a small part of the country that you can say, okay, we can move 300 kilometers from the capital to some city, it is done. And right now, it's a global village. And that was why coup may not be very successful in Nigeria. Okay,
so let's take it back to your state now. Oyo at 50, very briefly, we just state something. Alafin and Sean were absent as Makinde kicks off Oyo 50th anniversary. Do you think there is any undertone or political insinuation to that story?
Our traditional
rulers,
I want to just appeal to them not to kill what our forefathers has established. I just want to appeal. I wouldn't want to discuss them in terms of politics. I want to believe there is still peace among them. And I want to appeal to them that they should not allow themselves to be lured by politicians, because politicians have few times to stay. In less than 4 years, 8 years, the person is out. And you will be there in the next 10, 20 years, 30 years, if God gives the grace. And that is where they have to be very careful. You know, and I would want to say that their absence is key to what people are clouding about in terms of rumor. But I want to believe that whatever things they see that is good for their citizens, for their people, they should please continue doing it. The Alaafin absent, the Showo absent, may not be attached to what we may be looking at. But I want to say that it is not good for traditional leaders or traditional rulers to delve into politics. It is not the best.
All right. There's also one story I would like you to pick on very quickly. So let me pick your brain on this situation. The National Assembly is planning to have a constitutional review panel, once they resume today. So there's been that conversation of, okay, constitutional review is what is next. What do you think is next?
This people has been on this constitutional review for long.
But it's like they want to take it more seriously now.
More seriously. The more they sit on it, the more they earn more. That is, they want to cash out. I say that word, cash out. But I want to tell that there are more instability in our security. We have security instability in Nigeria. If that is what they are looking at. Of recent, we got the news, even when this news has been out, very late as some Christians were being adopted. Over 100 of them. We got the news from the international reports before our own was break out here. Even when the attack happened in December, it was already reported via the international platforms before we got it here. Why can't our National Assembly, who are representatives of the people, look into security and many cogent areas that will benefit the people? This is a new year. And this year we know it's going to be more of politics because of next year. More of politics, and we're already seeing it. more of the campaign, more of primary. The APC is doing a registration. PDP will come up. And we've seen the Southwest stakeholders forum of the PDP in Ogun State, where some people felt that the party is already dead. But I want to ask us, even when we look up more of politics and our own pockets, let's look more on our welfare of our people. The welfare of the people is very important, and one of the major area of that is security. If that can be taken care of, people will say, yes, you have done the best. Yes, we may not be able to do the bridge, you may not be able to do more roads, you may not be able to fix some things, but please, if people can live peacefully, at least for the few period of time that will be there before the next coming election, I think it will be better. This constitutional review that they want to go back and start doing has taken longer than expected. Right. I'm yet to see one that has been passed. I'm yet to see one that we can hold on to and say, yes, this is the document that has been passed so far, and we're making use of this to continue our journey as a Nigerian.
All right, let's take this story too. It's of interest. You mentioned security, and that brings to fore the conversation in Ondo State. So recently, another shocking incident. Gunmen abduct school proprietors in Ondo, 3 daughters of Plateau Water Board MD. That's exactly the story. Very shocking, very shocking. Sad, appalling this morning. But yes, you think security should be in the heart of the government, especially now. Yes. But it seems you're having this kind of issues. But let's also lace it with another story. The APC now control about 29 states, according to reports, after Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf's defection to the APC recently from the NNPP. So that makes 29 governors. Some have alleged that this is a one-party state kind of thing. Others are saying this government, this administration is more concerned about politics than it is about security. But what do you say to this?
I have said it earlier on that the government should look more of people's welfare than politics. And that is what is killing every other areas. They are particular about who is the campaign, how many people is bringing in. And they are looking at numbers, that when we have them in numbers, then we can be sure that the election coming up will have them like that. So when you say APC is controlling 29 states, so probably when the election will come up and they say they are willing outrightly, they will be telling you, look at this state, you cannot expect us to be controlling this state and we lose. We cannot expect us to be controlling this state and we lose. We have the senators, we have the rep, we have this. So these are people that determine the followers, and we cannot lose. But that is not the whole. That's not what we are expecting. It's a pity Ondo is still battling insecurity from the days of Aketi. May his gentle soul rest in peace. This man see the vision. He saw all that is happening now. And that was what gave him the vision to say, let us start the Amotekun. And the Amotekun take time to be recognized. The Amotekun drag on before he could get his global or national support. And if that had been done at that time, if they don't see it as a kind of one-man show, maybe we'll have gone out of this, especially within our region here. You know, Ondo is a border. It's a border state to some other these northern states. And when these guys are getting fired from the north, they're looking for escape routes. And that was why they get into that place even more often. And I think Aiyedatiwa, the governor there, should do more by recruiting more people and getting his surveillance guys on ground very well.
More people into the Amotekun.
I'm telling you, more people into the Amotekun. Because I will not advocate for the police officers, because they get order from above. And it is where they get order to go, is where they will go. But if the Amotekun is getting order from the state government, he will direct his people there, and they will be there. And they get more equipment, and that will be fine.
All right. So let's speak on this issue as well. Abuja became a scene yesterday. There were protests even before there were insinuations of protest, but there were actual protests yesterday, to the point that they were trying to stop the FCT minister from, entrance into. Very interesting. That's the issue. But yes, court is supposed to decide today, as FCT workers, demand Wike's removal. Some have said that Nyesom Wike has been doing a lot of politics in Rivers State, and he's supposed to be the minister of the FCT. So he's having 2 caps to wear, and he's having too many things on his plate to eat. But speak to this issue. Who should call Nyesom Wike to order? Should it be the president? Should it be Wike himself talking to himself that I need to focus on my job?
As it is right now, this man is dragging more enemy to himself than any other person can look at in the politics end. Nyesom Wike should call himself to order. You should, because if he is waiting for the president to call him to order, he will have been dead politically. Yes. you know, they had a primary that brought up another person from the APC end, and some people were saying that it is Wike's angle that is winning. I wonder how they could allocate that to Wike's angle when the number one person in the state is there. Is Fubara, and Fubara is the number one APC member, and not Wike again. As soon as he becomes the governor, so if Fubara has not been the governor, Wike may be the number one. But right now, Fubara is, and the party is supporting Fubara. Even when we are waiting for the president to call Wike to order, Wike should call himself to order. Should realize that his kind of person is diminishing. His political strength is diminished. And look, aftermath of now, Wike will not be the FCT minister for the next 10 years. He is only living in, by this time next year, his bag and baggages will have been prepared if he remains the FCT minister. And if not, you should look at beyond that to understand that he's going back home. Will the people be let's get to look at the former governors we've had, former ministers we've had, you know, how have been their life after leaving the office. Have you seen anyone around you before? I've met so many. I've met one in the bank. I never knew he was the person. I was even asking him that man. I was sitting on my seat, and he gently stood up until when he stood up, I look at him. Egbon, I call him by his name. And this is somebody that will walk in with, you know, bodyguards, you know, like that. And I tell you, Wike, you should go back and look at Rotimi Amechi. Should go back and look at other past ministers, past governors, and tread stuff softly so that we can have a kind of peace in that state and within himself. The president will not call him to order. He's a politician. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a politician.
I wish we could exfoliate this issue much further. But for want of time, we have to stop this segment. Thank you very much for joining us again.
Thank you for having me on this
follow me this morning. And of course, we now shift our focus to the big story. Oyo State at 50 is on the table of discourse with Samson Balogun. Join us again after this break.